Hello and good afternoon. I think we are set to go. Excellent. Hello and welcome to this week's what was supposed to be a Tuesday stream. It's a Wednesday stream right now. So yeah, today we are supposed to have a bit of a different stream. Hello, Mr. Satyabat. Satyabat, yes, I read it correctly. So today we're supposed to have a quick look at something I have not played around with it too much. So I pride myself to be a very big fan and talk about infrastructure as code a lot. As I work for AWS, I tend to focus a lot around CDK and CloudFormation. But there's another interesting piece of infrastructure as code framework, which is called Terraform. So I've actually had a very short play with Terraform a few years back when I kind of tried to figure out what it actually is and how does it work or how does it compare to CloudFormation. As I used to support a lot of our customers on AWS running CloudFormation, or actually running CloudFormation, and there was questions also. Hey, how does Terraform work then, and is Terraform better or not? So I decided, like, hey, let me check what Terraform is. So I kind of basically understand what Terraform is and how does it function, but the goal is basically now to dig a bit deeper or try to learn it. I have not used Terraform in years. I will do basically all the basic steps, how to get started with Terraform, what do you need to install, what do you need to run, and how can we create our first Terraform template or whatnot. So I'm going to start with a completely blank slate. I have not even installed Terraform on my laptop, so hopefully I learned something, and yeah, you learn together with me. So that should be pretty fun, right? By the way, I want to, before I start, just ask the question, the chat. Is my sound okay? I want to make sure that I'm not too loud or too quiet. I will say take the silent agreement as it's good. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Satya. So, super. Let's get started. By the way, this stream is proudly sponsored by Gin and Tonic. So I've made myself a lovely Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening drink. So yeah, I'm gonna have a sip of Gin and Tonic while I try to figure out Terraform. So should be fun. Oh, and I also need to turn off my phone because it will keep on vibrating. You have to stop that. And it's gone. Cool. Thank you. Cheers. Okay, cool. Let's switch on to the screen. Or what is it here? WTF is Terraform. Well, I actually know what Terraform is, but I'm gonna try to kind of explain it or give you guys some insight. So Terraform is a lovely framework, quite used framework for deploying infrastructure as code. So just to kind of step back a bit, infrastructure as code is basically a practice where you would define your infrastructure, your compute, your database, your storage, everything that you run within your cloud or non-cloud environments through code, right? With the advent of the cloud, this is very much possible now. It's relatively easy to define your entire infrastructure, all of your settings, everything you do through code. So when it comes to AWS, the major tool out there is AWS CloudFormation, which is kind of the native tool of AWS, where you build your infrastructure through that. You write things called templates. They're usually YAML and JSON files, and that's cool. Now, before modern tools such as SAM and CDK came along, there was Terraform. There was CloudFormation and Terraform. Now, my understanding is that Terraform, unlike CloudFormation, actually uses something called HCL or HashiCorp HashiCorp language, right? So it's a domain-specific language for Terraform. So in essence, it's a bit better than doing something like pure JSON or pure YAML. It has a lot more capabilities than those languages. It's not in the same ballpark as like using JavaScript or Python and CDK or Pulumi, but it has a lot of benefits compared to just using pure JSON and pure YAML. And a lot of people ask me questions. So should I use Terraform or should I use CloudFormation or CDK? My answer to that is always yes. Doesn't really matter what you use as long as you're very comfortable with that piece of software, and you should be happy with it. Satya says you can now use Shiny CDK TF to generate HCL from CDK. Yes, exactly. So a recent feature, actually coming from HashiCorp, the makers of Terraform, is basically a CDK or CDK TF. You can use CDK to generate or to basically provision Terraform code. So it's very cool. So if you're kind of capable in one of those generic programming languages which CDK supports, you can also do that with Terraform. So I think it's a very neat feature, especially because it allows people to use their existing knowledge of existing tooling out there, such as JavaScript, Python, TypeScript, or whatever languages out there. And there are tool chains, as a matter of fact, like CI/CD pipelines for those things, to actually do extensive testing and work with those things. So I'm very, very happy to see that coming also for Terraform. I can say that the Terraform syntax or HCL is nice. I enjoy it much more than just doing JSON or YAML. So initially when I was doing Terraform, I was like, oh, Terraform is very nice. So I guess I can try to do that again today. So we'll try to do something very simple. Again, it's been years since I did Terraform, so I need to check how to install Terraform first. So that's good. Oh, I maybe made it a bit too strong, but that's fine. Also, I will be looking at the book. So I have this lovely book I bought off Amazon. It's Definitive Guide to Infrastructure Automation. So it's a book that can help you get started with IAC. So it talks both about CloudFormation, and it talks about Terraform, and does some CDK and some Pulumi. So it's a really neat book. It was written by Bradley Campbell. I highly advise this book to anybody if you wish to have a look at some infrastructure as code or get started with some IAC on AWS. So pretty cool. I'm not going to be reading this book right now, but if I would like to get some, maybe interesting things, how can we look at some things? I would much rather share the documentation with you on screen. So I would much rather go for that. But yeah, I can always reference this if I have issues with it. Okay, so what is the first thing we need to do with Terraform? Well, I would imagine that we need to open up my browser and go install Terraform. Now, Terraform is basically a command line utility that you install locally on your workstation and then basically use it from there. I'm not gonna look at a video, manual install, pre-compiled binary. I can, oh, it's a binary. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try something here. So if I do yay s Terraform, I'm using Manjaro here. So I have 0.1228. I'm not sure if that's the latest version. How can I see which is the current version of Terraform? Install Terraform. I think this should be the latest version, but let me have a look. I want to see the repository, and then here we can see the current release is 12.29. Yeah, it's the latest one. Okay, this is 12.8, but that's fine. I'll much rather use this package manager instead of I see it here. It's 12.29 is the latest one. So and I think 12.28 should be. Now, if you do not have a package manager like I do, you can also use things such as a brew on a MacBook. So you can use basically brew install Terraform if you have a MacBook. Otherwise, there is a package. You can download basically the binary for Linux, and this binary will just be able to be used. So brew install Terraform. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Mr. DeAndre. And for Windows users, there's a binary for Windows as well. So it's multi-platform. You can run it on anything. I think the only thing that's not supported, and there's no ARM support. So maybe at some point we will have ARM support. But I think in essence, you can compile this to ARM, right? So if I would basically take this and compile it on a Graviton instance or a Raspberry Pi, it should work. So we need more ARM capabilities and more pre-compiled ARM binaries out there, please. No, yeah, DOA, yeah, no ARM. I'm a fan of doing things in very, very minimal systems. So I actually try to spend like a day or day or two running everything on a Raspberry Pi. I could. I was missing some tools, but for those tools that are missing, I just SSH'd into something else, so it kind of worked. But yeah. So we installed Terraform. Terraform. Is this the command? Yes. Okay, cool. Out of date. Oh, okay, it's out of date. Shall I download this one? You know what? I think this one should be okay. I think that may be famous last words, but let's get started. So let's create the directory here. Let's call, how are we gonna call it? Terraform, no, Darko's TF Adventure Part 1. Cool. And I'll try to, if this code looks okay, I'll try to do something with it. So what are we gonna try to create? Let's do the basics. Let's do the hello world of AWS, and let's create an EC. Okay, so Mr. Satya, so that's basically what I want to talk about. End goal is to create something. So I don't know Terraform, right? So I want to try to learn how Terraform functions. I want to go through the basics like the AWS hello world. I want to create a VPC, an EC2 instance, and maybe have something on that EC2 instance. I don't know. We're gonna make it as simple as that, right? And then maybe in some next adventures we can try to do more things, such as do serverless with CDK, or not CDK, sorry, with Terraform, and do more things on top of that. So unlike other languages, I'm not very proficient with Terraform, so please bear that in mind. I hope you just enjoy me looking at things. So let's get started AWS. So what is the first thing? Install Terraform, absolutely. Build infrastructure, how does one? Okay, no videos, please. AWS account, AWS CLI installed. Okay, let me just verify if I have, I think I have AWS CLI installed. Yeah, I do. AWS S3 LS, just so I have permissions. I do. Cool. Right configuration. Okay, I'm creating this. Okay, there we go. Let's create an example. Touch example TF. So the files for Terraform are basically oh hey Joseph, yeah, you made it just in time. We basically just started, so it's gonna be a slow one, so you have not missed much. You see, the only thing I've done is basically installed Terraform. So it's in my case it was yay install Terraform or S Terraform. If you use Brew or MacBooks, you can use Brew install. If you use Windows or any other Linux binary distribution, you can just download the binary from the Terraform site. So whatever. And that's a fair point. So I have a friend, and she was doing things with Terraform, and it took her a while to install it for some reason. It was complex, right? But I so far have not had any problems. So again, if you use a Linux distribution that has, this is Manjaro, it's based on Arch, so there's a Yay package manager or Pacman or whatever you look like. For macOS, it would be brew install Terraform, right? If you have macOS, but if you don't have macOS or have something else, basically there are packages here available from this Linux instance. Oh, there's an ARM version. There we go. I was wrong. sorry, HashiCorp. So there is a version here for depending on which architecture you want to run, and you can basically just download it and run it. Yeah, no, it's not available on apt for some reason. So if you're using WSL for Windows or Windows subsystem for Linux, it's not available on apt. But if you download this binary here, just this zip file, and put it in your path directory, so in the location where you can find this binary, it should just work, hopefully out of the box. There's also a question, and this is not showing up on OBS, but on the screen here, but from Mr. Muhammad on YouTube, is Terraform same as CloudFormation? So Terraform has the same goal as CloudFormation. So the goal of Terraform is to help you provision infrastructure through code, right? So you define your infrastructure through code, you write these lovely templates, these configuration files, and then you execute that thing, and it provisions things on a specific cloud provider, right? So, and one of the differences between Terraform and CloudFormation is that it supports different cloud vendors. So if you use multiple clouds like Azure or GCP or somebody else, I'm not sure what else is supported, you can also use Terraform. Okay, so Azure, Google Cloud, and Terraform Cloud, Kubernetes, and there's a few other things that Terraform supports. Not sure if Oracle Cloud is supported. Looking at this thing, it doesn't seem like Oracle Cloud is supported by Terraform. But I think Terraform is open source. So if you want to add feature to it, I am pretty sure you can apply support for some different cloud vendors as well. Now, mind you, this has been a question to me a few times. Should you use Terraform if you're going multi-cloud? Yeah, maybe. But keep one thing in mind. The syntax is not the same. So if you use the same code for Terraform, it's not the same thing as using the syntax. Sorry, if you say syntax for AWS, it's not the same syntax as for Azure. So you cannot just copy paste. So you need to still put effort to write those things as well. So, and also DeAndre says DigitalOcean is also supported. So very cool. I had fun with DigitalOcean a long time ago, but it's something that I've not tried to do with through Terraform. You can write custom providers, absolutely. So the same actually applies to CloudFormation, and this is an advanced topic of CloudFormation I can talk about one day. But CloudFormation has this thing called CloudFormation Registry, where you can actually write custom providers for CloudFormation. So anything that has an API exposed, you can technically create. So with enough expertise, you can use CloudFormation to deploy Azure resources as well. So it's also a fair thing. So it's really about how much effort you wish to invest in this. I think Terraform is nice in a sense that it has a really great syntax. And if you ask me either or, should you use CloudFormation or Terraform? The answer is the common one. It depends, right? I like them both. I like Terraform syntax better than CloudFormation's. But Terraform has some issues when it comes to state files, etc., etc. So that's sometimes convoluted for me, at least coming from CloudFormation. So I would say that there's room in this world for both of them, and for not just both of them, for all of them, right? So as long as you, as an engineer, as a developer, as an architect, you feel fine with a specific language, and that language is okay, or a framework, use that one. That's the best one. So it's that simple. Also, I just want to make one thing. So this chat box up here, it for some reason doesn't have colorful names. I want to give you all colorful names. Where is that? Chat box. Okay. Settings. Theme is clean. Is it this one? Not this one. Switch. Is this one better? It's the same one. Old school. What is old school? Oh no, that's horrible. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Mr. Kanir. Thank you. This doesn't work. I'll just use a clean one. I was hoping for it to show different colors here as well, but it doesn't. Oh well. Font settings, source. It's okay. Maybe just confused. Also, if you've noticed, I've set up a subscribe box. It shows up if somebody subscribes, or not just subscribes, or just follows. So thank you for all the follows and the subscriptions. By the way, I'm not doing this for money, so don't throw your money at me, please. I'm doing this for the sake of it. If you want to throw money at something, throw it to a charity. Thank you, Mr. Cloud Sumo. See. Okay, let's kick it off. I did something here. I've created a file here called example.tf. So we need to add something to this file. So vim example.tf. Cool. Oh, by the way, do I have? We can figure that out later on. So building infrastructure with this thing. So there's a great example here. Let's have a look. How does this look? Hugh, everyone spends money to Darko. Don't spend money for Darko. Gee, no. If we ever meet in person, absolutely, you can buy me a drink, and I can buy you a drink as well. But yeah, it's my job, so this is something I do. I get paid by somebody else to do this as well, and I also enjoy doing this. So yeah, I don't have the smash subscribe and buy the merch. Maybe I should set up some merch. You can buy some merch from me. But hey, I still need a bit more time in the sun for me to be able to have some merch. Okay, cool. So looking at this code, I'm not going to paste this code. I'm actually going to discuss it. So there's a few things here. Provider, when it comes to Terraform, because Terraform supports multiple things, multiple different like different providers, or essentially supports DigitalOcean, it supports Azure, it supports GCP, Terraform Cloud. So this is where you define the provider per se. So if I define a provider by AWS, I also set up some defaults or some properties to that provider, if that is how I understand it correctly. So if I go here and set up like this, provider AWS, and then open up this, and then region, right? This is where you define the region. Region equals EU West 1. I think I'll use that one. And also let's do a profile, I guess. No, like that. Profile equals default. So by profile, it actually talks about your AWS CLI profile. So when you have AWS CLI installed, and when you define the permissions and the keys and everything locally, when you run AWS configure, you'd set up also profiles. So it's going to be using the default profile, because on this laptop, I only have a single profile. If I would have multiple profiles for let's say different AWS accounts, I could also, or maybe for different permissions, I can use those different profiles here defined here. Now, what is this? Oh, perfect. This is creating an AWS EC2 instance. Okay, so what does it define? Let me zoom into this a bit. So let's actually type this out. So resource, AWS underscore instance. Is that it? Yeah. And then give it a name. Let's call it my first instance. It's not my first instance. It's my Terraform instance, like that. And then we define, see, this is a very nice language. I like HCL. We define an AMI and an instance type. So AMI equals something, something. We don't know an AMI. And then instance type is going to be, let's do T3 micro, because why not? We are modern. And for the sake of prettiness, let's do the following. Let's make it nice. So it kind of looks like JSON, but it's not JSON. It's a very specific DSL, or actually, it looks like, I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to play with Puppet, but it kind of reminds me like on some Puppet modules as well, at least if I recall correctly. But so to create an instance, this is basically the instance, the resource type we're doing. So resource types is AWS underscore instance, and this is the logical name we are defining here. And the two properties we are defining, and apparently these are the only two required properties, are AMI ID, or the image ID used here, and the instance type. So if I go to AWS Management Console just to find an AMI ID, so go to EC2. The simplest way to do this is just go to EC2, try to launch an instance, and you will see launch instance. And you can pick this thing here. So I'm just picking up the AMI ID from here, and let's do it like that, and insert. Perfect. Now, this should be sufficient per se. Now, I don't know that, but let's try it out. So clear this up, like so. And how does one do that? Let's have a look here. So I think there's a few commands we run. Provider, that's fine. Resources, that's fine. Initialize. Oh, we need to Terraform Init. Okay. So by running Terraform Init, so Terraform Init. Now, one of the great things, especially, so if I would compare CloudFormation to Terraform, one of the things that sells me on Terraform is its CLI. I love CLI. I'm not sure if you noticed me working at terminal most of my life. I enjoy CLI tools. So and Terraform, especially back when it came out with this lovely CLI utility that helps you do everything from the command line. So in essence, you need to do Terraform Init, which will initialize the directory. It actually looks at my my file here, and it sees that I'm using the provider called AWS, so it's gonna download that plugin locally. So perfect. So it has defined the provider version 3.0. Excellent. So halfway there. So that's fine. What is Terraform FMT? Format your configuration. I guess it will just format my files. Is it like a syntax thing? So Terraform form FMT. Okay, so what did it do? I don't know. Okay. So, all right, I guess it maybe just did some syntax checking or something like that. All right. Cool. Also, Terraform looks for every .tf file, so your files need to be named .tf, as it looks for for those things. When you do anything with Terraform, it looks for those files and does things based on those files. Now, Terraform Validate is a really neat utility, I guess. It's Terraform Validate. It will validate my code. The configuration is valid, so that's really cool. So it checks is the thing that I wrote here really good. And now Terraform Apply. Terraform Apply will actually Terraform Apply will basically just apply all the TF files, all the things in here. So if I would go like that, let's just have a look what it's gonna do. So looking here, Terraform Apply will basically apply my configuration. So here is what it is going to do, and this is something I really liked when I first saw Terraform. That it shows you this thing through the CLI. You see that it's going to create an instance with this AMI instance type. Some other things are not going to be known already, but it's going to do like EBS volumes, metadata, network interfaces, root block devices. That's it. And if you're fine with this, you just type, just exit and type yes. And now Terraform will actually do all the API calls, everything it needs to do to call or to create things on AWS. So that's pretty cool. And again, doing it through the CLI was so cool back then. Oh, sorry. Let's see what our book says about Terraform. Or what else can we do on Terraform? That's fine. You can also do some variables. That's very cool. That's something we're gonna check out. So the goal is to create an EC2 instance here, I guess, a VPC, and maybe install a web server on the EC2 instance or something like that. It's a hello world example of AWS. Cool. So we have created this instance. So now just let me find this instance here. I think it's available somewhere here on EC2. I'm sorry for the jangling eyes, but it is pretty hot in Germany, 29 degrees right now in Berlin. So instance state running, I would say it's this one. It's T3 micro. I think it's the only T3. Oh, or no, this is this one. Sorry. It has no name. It has nothing, but it is created by Terraform. Can I see something here? Are there any tags? Nothing. So I have no clue that this has been launched by Terraform, but I can only guess because I can see that it's currently initializing. So the instance is starting, but it is not, it's the latest one, I guess. Okay, let's go back. And also, unlike CDK, if you've seen me do CDK uses CloudFormation in the backend to do this. Terraform does not do that. And let's actually have a look at what Terraform also does. So LSA, it has a few things here. It creates the state file. So Terraform, can I Terraform state? Yeah, cool. So if I do Terraform TF state, it will actually show me this is the state file. This is what it expects. This is where Terraform keeps things, keeps track of what you have and how it is configured. So right now it understands that, hey, this is what you are currently having. There's an instance. So let's see a logical name. Yes, so it's a logical name. There's a resource. Yes, the name is my Terraform instance, right? So this is the name. And these are the attributes or the properties of this resource. Now, if I would go ahead and do, for example, rm terraform tf state, and if I would terraform apply, it should not know that this exists. So if I do yes again, it's not aware that an instance already exists, and it's actually going to go ahead and create a new instance. So there should be 24 instances running right now. There we go. So we see that there's an additional instance being started up here because I've deleted the state of Terraform. So it is very important that Terraform knows what to do. Now, usually usually what you would do here, you would keep this state file somewhere externally. So what I've seen people do is that they would use S3 to store the state file and some combination with DynamoDB, so you can kind of prevent locks. So that's a really great way to do that. Otherwise, if I would delete my Terraform resource or my Terraform state file, Terraform would not know what to manage. And if I would just run Terraform Apply again, instead of not doing anything because no changes have been made, Terraform did not find the state file and said like, okay, I need to create an instance. So it created this instance. But let's actually destroy it again. So Terraform destroy. Is it destroy? No. Terraform destroy. Is it? Yes, good. Oh, by the way, for people who have been on my stream last time, I've commented that I have some new music on my stream. Like I put something relatively new, and it's I paid for it and all that stuff. Apparently, it's not, even if you copyright it, even if you pay for it, it's still copyrighted. So I got flagged on YouTube for that music. Fun times. Mr. Cloud Sumu, so my big concern with Terraform is securing and locking the state file. I work with medium-ish teams, and anytime I work with it, somebody has ended up going into the state files to fix deployments. Yes. So that's my only gripe with Terraform is state files. I know that you can keep them on S3. There is a way to do things like with DynamoDB to prevent locks and do things, especially, it's easy if you're doing it yourself, you don't care, right? But if you work with a team with a bunch of people, this is where the problem happens, is somebody might make a change when the change should not happen, etc., etc. So this is especially if you do not have a pipeline to deploy things. Now, if you have a proper pipeline to test and deploy Terraform through a CI/CD procedure, then you should be fine because no changes will happen outside of that pipeline, and the state file is always being managed to an extent with that pipeline. So that's where it's good. But if you're doing it like in a manual way with a team of some people, as Mr. Cloud Sumu said here, it always ends up somebody has to go and fix state files for deployments. Actually, my colleague Kobus, he used to do a lot of Terraform in the past, and he was telling me that many times he would have to play around with state files to fix those things. So yeah. What is Atlantis? Run Atlantis.io. Terraform pool. Okay, there we go. It's a workflow thing for Terraform. All right, interesting. And is this like a managed service? Or is it interesting. That's very cool. So yeah, the thing is, using vanilla Terraform can be complex because of that state file, but there are tools out there like Atlantis. I never tried it out. I don't really know. It would be good to try out, absolutely. So maybe next time. So this entire Darko stumbles through Terraform. I'm gonna try to make this also kind of a series where I'll do it once every often to kind of play with Terraform and do stuff with that. I don't know. So if you're interested in following me do those things, please click the follow button on Twitch, I guess, and click the subscribe button on YouTube, because all of these videos are actually going to end up on YouTube. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's there in the bottom, ROP12. It's basically the same thing. Okay, so we have deleted it. Now let's do something more. I want to do more. Always when I do things with infrastructure as code, I want to see how to create a VPC. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's ignore this right now, and let's go to. So let's find Terraform, AWS resources. I guess I'm looking to see how do these resources look. Oh, cool, excellent. So resources, instances. Can we find resource types? Provider. Providers, okay. Where can one find resources? Providers, is it here? A major cloud, AWS. Oh, excellent. So we want to find VPC here. So let's try to see if we can do VPC. Perfect. I want to create a VPC or a virtual private cloud. It's basically a network thing. Oh, the unwashed masses. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Unwashed Masses, or Miss Unwashed Masses. Unfortunately, the YouTube thing doesn't show up here because YouTube. So to create a VPC, what do we need to do? Let's create a VPC, just a standard VPC. So if I do a resource VPC, that's it. Also, let's be smart about all the things, and let's create tags as well. So tags are important. I'm not sure if you are, how comfortable are you with tags, but tags are super important with anything you do. So tags are basically the way to identify certain resources, first by giving them names, even though you should never give them names, but you can assign tags for specific environments, like your production, your development, or a workload, a business unit, or something like that. So let's give a tags, I think it's this way, yes, tags equals and whoop, what are you doing, like that. And what is a tag? I'm just gonna do name, right? Name equals my first, well, actually let's call it TF web server, right? Perfect. I think this should be fine. This file has been changed since reading it. Do you really want to write to it? Yes. I know what has been changed. The Terraform format has changed in this file, so horrible. Name. Okay. So we have a resource here. Let's try. What are the comments like? How do the comments look here? Is this a comment? Terraform HCL comments. Syntax. Is it a £pound symbol? Is it? Where is the comments? Single line comment. Okay. All right. Cool. VPC. Or actually, do networking. Cool. So we need to create a VPC. So let's go resource. AWS, is it AWS VPC? AWS underscore VPC, like that. And let's give it a logical name. It's gonna call TF VPC. And the parameters required, let's copy the tags here. I'm gonna do tags. Does it have a name? Yeah, it has a name. So let's call it TF. That. Cool. Now, what is the important thing? We need to do CIDR block, and that's it, right? So let's see what are the required ones. Does it say? Okay, so the only required option is CIDR block, and that's it, right? The CIDR block of the VPC, and that's all of it. Does it show any more information? This documentation is pretty light. I wish it would be a better one. So it just should, okay, I guess. Okay, let's do CIDR block. CIDR, what is it called? CIDR underscore block equals, what is the CIDR? Let's do 10.00/0/16, right? Is that the one they use? That should be fine. Cool. So this is basically the IP range of the entire network. Now, my question is here is, now, I'm kind of spoiled by CDK. Well, CDK does a bunch of defaults for you, so you don't have to create subnets or anything like this. CDK will do that for you. I'm wondering, will Terraform do the same? Okay, let's go here. Actually, you know what? This is too small of a screen. I'm gonna do the following. So Terraform Validate. Let's see if this template is okay. It's fine. Terraform Apply. I don't know, Joe. That's the thing I want to figure out right now. So on CDK, you don't have to. CDK does a bunch of things by default. It creates the subnets, it creates all the things for you. I am not sure about Terraform. So let's see what Terraform does. And we can actually quite quickly see it here. So it creates an EC2 instance here. So I can see that it does an EC2 instance like before. VPC, creates a VPC. IRN. I think it just creates a VPC. It doesn't do things out of the box, but we can fix that. When's your CDK training plan? I've actually had a stream last week I did some basics of CDK. So if you want to check out the last week's stream, let me share the video. I think I have it on my YouTube channel. I do. So, but I plan to do those more, right? So I'm a big fan of infrastructure as code. So I kind of base a lot of my content around that. So let me just share it here. Yeah, CDK TF sounds very interesting. I'm still to play with it properly because I don't know Terraform too much. So I really want to try out Terraform first and then see how this all looks in CDK. So I guess it's a very interesting thing. Again, CDK TF basically just generates Terraform code, or not generates, it provisions code through provisions infrastructure through Terraform. Okay, so I think it only created a VPC, so we will need to add more things. So if I refresh this, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Smash that subscribe button, as the kids say these days, right? TF's web server is here. That's fine. And the VPC is. Let's look at VPCs. Okay, the VPC is here. Now I want to see, is there anything in this VPC? I doubt that there is anything. So if I go to subnets, it's, yeah, nothing. So we need to create a few things. We need to create internet gateways. We need to create subnets. We need to create route tables as well, I think. So all the things. Fun. This is something I don't like about CloudFormation. So I guess we have to do it on Terraform as well. Okay, let's do that. Why not? We have time. What do we need? We need a subnet or internet gateway, right? Internet gateway. So it's very simple, like this. Cool. Let's just copy paste. Oh, by the way, before I continue, I'm a big fan of text editors, and I don't have proper syntaxing or proper support for Terraform. Let me see if I have syntax highlighting for Terraform. COC, I use COC, or that translates to Conquest of Completion. It's a Vim plugin. COC Terraform. Is there a Terraform version for that? Terraform LSP. Is this too much effort for me to do right now? New Vim, let's have a look here. Okay, next time you join me, I'm gonna have my Vim configured to work for Terraform, so I can do proper snippets. Okay, cool. So let's do it like this. VPC. Remember, kids, always properly comment your code. Internet gateway. Resource, AWS, how's it called? Internet, unless it's JSON. Yes. Apparently there's a version of JSON where you can put comments in, and so yeah. By the way, the server up top, the EC2 instance is it's actually created in the default VPC. So by default, it uses the default VPC in my account. So that's why it was able to be created. So let's call this main GW or main GW. What are the things we need to do? What are the things we need to find? VPC ID. Okay, so this is where we have a look at first logical references. VPC _ ID. So instead of defining a VPC ID like the actual VPC dash something something, I can actually use the reference of the main AWS VPC main ID. So if I do AWS VPC VPC dot TF VPC ID. Thank you for the subscribe or the follow, Mr. Malik Yawar. Yes, I am. I've actually, Mr. Malik, I've answered you on the. I'm not sure if you heard me answer it. When it comes to the only thing is that YouTube doesn't show. Actually, OBS for some reason doesn't show up YouTube comments. So you were the only person who commented on YouTube. So thank you. When it comes to Terraform and CloudFormation, it's basically they serve the same purpose. So they both are used to deploy infrastructure as code. So you can model your infrastructure, all of your elements in your infrastructure through code. So they are trying to achieve the same outcome, doing it in a slightly different way. They have a different syntax, as you can see. This is Terraform syntax. And they also use different tooling and different ways of achieving things. So which one is the better one? It depends. The common phrase, it depends. I would say that really what I like the syntax of Terraform much more than CloudFormation because it makes more sense. But really depends on what you want to do. So I would advise you that you try both and see what fits better, and then use that one. So I'm by no means biased on any of them. Even though I work for AWS, that doesn't prevent me from talking about how great Terraform is. And so far it looks very great, apart from it being very manual. But that's the same you can expect for CloudFormation. So what did I say? I need to define my gateway, and also let's be smart again. Let's do tagging. Name, I'm gonna call it the main gateway. That's fine, just call it main. Cool. So this will create an entering gateway. So one of the things we need to do for a gateway is we need to create routes. I think we need to create a route. AWS route. Yeah, that's fine. Route table. Okay, we need to create a route table. Okay, so provides both standard route resource route tables. Gateway get gateway ID. Okay, what is this thing here? VPC ID routes. Okay. So is there something special in this? Terraform currently provides both a standalone route resource and a route table resource with routes defined inline. At this time, you cannot use a route table with inline routes in conjunction with any route resources. Mr. Joe, how do we make sure that this server gets created in this VPC? Simple. So actually, I guess it's simple. So let me actually find this here. If I go to the EC2 part on this, if I find EC2 AWS instance, right, there we go. I assume, and you know what happens when you assume, I assume that the instance itself has a property that will not load my web page, that you can define with, that you basically use to define which VPC this instance runs on. Why are you not loading my thing here? Okay. So what are the arguments? So AMI, host ID, ABS optimized. So so you don't specify the VPC, but you specify the subnet. So you say subnet ID, and it's somewhere here. Yeah, subnet ID. Basically, you specify which subnet ID this instance is going to be launched in. And once that is done, it actually will create it in this specific VPC. So that's how you launch this server inside of this VPC. And we'll get to that as soon as we create the VPC. So we need a few things before we get to that. We need a route table, I guess. So if we go, now I just want to make sure that if I go to subnet, what is my subnet? Let's create subnet. Let's create a subnet first. So let's go here and do the following. Subnet. So again, resource, AWS, VPC subnet, right? Is that the name? Yeah. No, AWS subnet. Let's call it subnet 01, because why not? What do we need? We need okay, so we need to define a VPC ID. The same here. We can use the same syntax as we did before. AWS VPC -tf VPC -id. and then we need to CIDR block, because the same as we do it on the VPC itself, we need to define a CIDR block for our VPC, for our subnet as well. So we need to be in the same range. So we need to do 10.0.0. equals. Oh, see, I'm used to CDK. Like that. Thank you, Joe. And it's gonna be 0 slash like that slash 24. By the way, I've never asked any of you on chat. I know a few of you have been here for a while and been showing up on the streams. Where are you from? I would really like to know where you all are based at. And let's give it a name. Oh, Dubai. Excellent. I just had a discussion today with one of your big customers from Dubai, from actually the Emirates, about doing some talk with them as well. So yeah, USA, South Africa, Johannesburg. Oh, very cool. So you folks from South Africa, you need to meet my colleague Kobus, unless you know him. So he's based out of Cape Town. So he also does the same thing as I do, and we look very much the same. We're both bald and beardy. UK, hello. And thank you all for devoting your evenings to spend with me looking at some code. I had a reverse culture shock when I was using CDK with C# and I was struggling because I kept accidentally using a colon instead of equals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're in Germany, Mr. Kanier. Oh, very cool. I also used to live in Ireland, and now I live in Germany. So there we go. Yeah, Malik, or Mr. Mohammed. Kobus and I look a bit alike, and it happened once we were on reInvent last year, and somebody approached me and said, "Hey, Kobus." I'm like, "Oh wait, no, I'm not Kobus. I get it, but I'm not." And I had a conference recently, a webinar actually, and somebody in comments said, "Oh, wrote me, thanks, Kobus." So yeah, it happens. I'm gonna create just a single VPC. So yeah. Not Kobus and not Darko. Yeah, exactly. So we like to put not Kobus and not Darko. And to plug that as well, we also have a YouTube channel called Not Kobus and Not Darko, which I should share here as well because you can go and subscribe. Wait a second. I need to find that because it's important. Not Kobus and not Darko. Not Kobus. By the way, I've never properly introduced myself. My name is Darko Mesaros. I am a developer advocate at AWS. I am originally from Serbia, hence the weird names, and I am currently based in Berlin, Germany. So my job is basically to cover all the customers from Central Eastern Europe plus the Russia region. So yeah. Thank you, Mr. O Mafekela for the subscription, or so for the follow. Terminology. So by the way, that YouTube channel is a channel from Kobus and myself. This is where we host our streams as well. So we have separate streams where we do it every Monday and every Friday, where we talk tech and drink coffee. So we used to do it in the evenings, but Kobus has kids, and we try to make it more approachable for people during their work hours, so they can kind of listen to us while we do things. Okay, let me try to finish this. So subnet, we need a route table. What's your advice for a new AWS Solution Architect Associate Certified regarding jobs? Okay, so one of the things I can say that AWS Solution Architects are required all over. So now it's a very very cool thing that you have that certificate, because you can kind of have your basic understandings of AWS. And if you're looking for a job, I can just say that a lot of customers are using AWS per se. But here's the thing, even if a different cloud is in question, all the same cloud value definitions apply. So the goal behind being a cloud architect is that you are trying to get a company who is a traditional company. And if you ever worked in a company that has data centers or racks, or you might be working there right now, the goal is as an architect to optimize your customer or your employer to be more cloud native, whatever that means, right? The goal is to reduce costs and reduce, or actually redirect costs from paying for infrastructure to maybe getting more things done or getting more time for you to experiment on things and those things. So if you're an architect, keep that in mind. It's not just about, oh, I get to deploy EC2 instances. It's also, I get to re-architect and I get to change the way companies work. So that's my great advice. If you talk to anybody about a job, make sure to mention those things. Twitch doesn't have a good search, but this YouTube will be awesome. Yeah, Twitch is, I mean, I get most views on Twitch, for example. I cannot show it right now, but I have 12 of you on Twitch and only one person on YouTube. And that one person on YouTube may be me, or I don't know. So YouTube is not very good for live streams, apparently, or at least I don't get a lot of folks on YouTube. But on Twitch, I'm happy with 12 people here. So as I said, even if there was one person here, I would still be fine. Okay, I guess I can do this. I can do this entire thing here. Let's be lazy and let's copy paste this like that. I'm creating a route table. So after the stream, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Route table. Now, every VPC requires like that. Every VPC requires a route table, right? Or you need a route, basically to route traffic from a specific CIDR block, or actually to a specific location, from a specific location to internet, right? So we need to define those things as well. So this route is actually taking this. Is this the good way to do it? Now, CIDR block required, CIDR block of the route. Okay. I think this would look okay. I have never done this before, so let's have a look at will this be working. So we've done this. We created a subnet route table. We created an internet gateway. Is it called main? Is the same one? I think it's not main. It's called main_GW. Let's do it like this. Look at that one. Perfect. Cool. I will share. Actually, this entire repository I'll put on GitHub as soon as I made it work. So I promise. Let's see. This looks all good. Do you know if Terraform has something similar to CloudFormation parameters for reusable templates? So I know that Terraform has variables. When it comes to parameters, I don't really know. I think there is a way that you can deploy parameters as well to an extent. Let me just have a look. Terraform. Now, because Terraform doesn't have, there's input variables. There you go. So you can define input variables to those things. You can do input variables through the command line, I think. But also you can define a variables file. I think that's the better approach. You can define a variables file, and in that variables file you define those parameters, and they are being picked up during launch. So I think the file has to be called variables.tf or something like that to do that. But for that we will look at more advanced options about Terraform in Darko Stumbles Through Terraform Part 2, which is coming up sometime. I don't know when. I guess this week, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I have fun doing this, so I'm happy with just doing this every day. So Terraform verify, right? Verify or validate. Okay, VPC default ID. Okay, there's no VPC default. It's not called default, it's called something else. How did we call our VPC? TF VPC. TF VPC. Okay, Terraform Validate helped. Cool. Terraform Apply. Let's see what will happen right now. Okay, let's have a look at what this does. So it's going to create a gateway. It's going to create a route table, subnet. Okay. Yes. Yes. Ooh. Route target is not supported. This route supports only interface and instance targets. Ooh, interesting. What happened here? Route target is not supported. This route only supports interface and instance targets. Okay. Terraform VPC route. Yeah, so Joe, that's a great point. Doing it on multiple accounts makes a lot of sense. So one of the things you would have to do, create multiple accounts on multiple AWS, multiple resources on multiple AWS accounts. And actually, I plan to do that. So one of the things that I would like to do here is expand this, what I'm doing. So today is basically hello world. So what happens in the next episode, we look at more advanced things like variables, like custom, not modules or custom, how do they call it? Something custom, right? And then we build on, hey, let's build an application that's going to be well architected in multiple accounts, etc., etc. So I definitely plan to do those things. So let's always the best place for code is looking at somebody else's code. Let's have a look here. Variables, see variables, VPC. Okay, this resource subnet attach internet gateway. Okay, so route table. Okay. So I think I know what I did wrong, and I was kind of expecting that this was bad because it's supposed to be this, and then I just pointed to the internet, right? Okay, let's try it again. Terraform apply. Will this work? Terraform is a bit buggy when it comes to broken code, right? So. Yes. Don't spill my thing. Okay. Let's see what's happened. Let's go here and refresh. So I'm on the VPC console. I'm gonna select my TFC VPC here. I see I have one subnet. That's very cool. I have a route table that says target is local. This is not good. I want something else. Network ACL. I don't want that. I want a route table. See, it created two route tables. That's the problem because, see, I have the main one, and for some reason it has this route table, which is not the one. No, we didn't. We still haven't gotten to the server. The server still sits in the default subnet. So we're gonna be getting to that. But I think I've made a mistake here by not defining the route table, or I need to define a route table attachment to my subnet, right? Route table, wait, that's fine. Okay, so we need to associate this route table to my subnet, right? Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's route table and then do route table associate. Is that how you write it? Association. A resource AWS. What is the route table? Association. Let's call it RTTF. I hate this. I hate that you have to create a separate resource, and this is the same in CloudFormation. Create a separate resource for associating the route table. So subnet ID. ID equals, what is our subnet name here? How did we call this one? Subnet 01. AWS subnet, AWS or subnet 01 ID. And then the route table ID is AWS route table. What is the name? The R, right? ID, but I'm not going to call it R. I want to give it a proper name. So route table is not going to be R. It's going to be TF route table. What's your IDE you use? This is actually not an ID. It's Vim. So now, one thing I need to mention always when I talk about Vim. Vim is great. I love it. I've been using it for 10 years now, but it's not the easiest thing to get started with. So if you're starting with Terraform or any other language, use something more approachable if you're not comfortable with Vim, because Vim is pretty bare bones unless you make it very good. So something like running code, AWS, or actually, what is it? This thing. So Visual Studio Code might be a bit more approachable to a lot more people because it has a lot of the syntax highlighting and everything for Terraform built in. I'm just a fan of Vim. So it's not that I don't use VS Code. I use VS Code from time to time, but I'm just a bigger fan of Vim. So, and it looks cool. That's all we need, right? Okay, cool. Route table ID. I think this looks good. So we created an association now. So let's try to Terraform Validate once more. Okay. Terraform Apply. Yes. So highlighting looks good in Vim. There are plugins. There are plugins, of course, and like I wanted to install like a plugin for Terraform for Vim, but it requires setting up the plugin Terraform language server locally, which I don't have it right now, and I don't want to waste your time on that right now. So for next time, I will have this all set up. And if you have ever had a chance to look into my YouTube videos, when I do CDK, I have Vim set up properly for JavaScript or TypeScript in this case. It works really good. Okay, route tables once more. Let's go back to our subnet. Like that, refresh. Want to make sure that our subnet uses the proper route table. Select my VPC, select my subnet, route table. Perfect. Okay, cool. We're ready with the VPC. Now, one of the other things I would like to create here, I would like to just create a security group because I want to say that my instance needs to have a proper security group, or basically this should be fine if I do this. See, this is the old syntax. So this is an old, I know that when I started using Terraform, this was the proper syntax. You had to do parentheses, or actually the squiggly parentheses, the brackets. Are these called the brackets in English? Brackets? Or is it curly brackets? Curly brackets, yes. Curly brackets, yes. You have to use curly brackets and dollar signs as well, but now you don't have to do that. So, let's take this one. I think this one should be fine. And I'm gonna just modify it a bit. So, security group. Okay, allow, let's call this one allow HTTP. Perfect. So let me just explain what we're doing here. So we are creating a security group. Basically, the security group, for those who you do not know about AWS, security group is basically a stateless firewall on top of your instance, right? It sits beyond your instance, but it's basically where you define which ports or what things can be accessed from your to your instance. What kind of traffic can go to and from your instance? So this is TF-VPC. So we're defining which VPC. Ingress is basically incoming traffic. So I want to say HTTP from the internet, like that. From port, just put 80, and to port 80, it's TCP, and the CIDR blocks is gonna be just. It's not going to be on a VPC, it's going to be like that. And it's going to be 0.0.0.0/0. Perfect. I think this should work. And egress is just going to be anything like that. Perfect. Okay. Once more. Terraform Validate. Okay. Terraform Apply. It's going to do a bunch of things. Again, you should always read what it does. Don't be lazy like myself, just like, oh yeah, I'm sure going to be good. But you can see that here it's creates a security group with the following settings, and that's it. Yes. Ish. Okay, apply complete. One moment. That looks good. Let's go to this one just to make sure that we have the security groups. there should be the one. There's a default security group as well, but there's also this one, which inbound roles are basically anything from internet, and outbound roles are anything. Cool. Perfect. Now let's modify Mr. Joe Frickson. We mentioned that we need to add our server to this VPC. So how to do that? If we go to server, to our EC2 instance, let's find what is the thing that our EC2 instance requires for it to be set up in the VPC. AWS instance. What else? What did we say? We need to set up the subnet ID, right? Instance type, key name, get password data, security groups. Okay, let's do security groups as well. Actually, let's be proper. Security groups equals AWS security group dot, how do we call it? HTTP. What is the name of our security group? No, we need to change this. HTTP, like that. Okay. Security group, allow HTTP, and then do we need to define an ID, right? No, it's secure. It's actually VPC security group IDs. It's this one. Okay, wait. By the way, for those of you who have used AWS in the recent times, there was a time before VPC. So that's why you have a difference here between VPC and security groups. There's EC2 Classic, which is a time before VPCs. So this is why it doesn't work. So, okay, optional VPC only. So VPC security group IDs. Security group group IDs. So I understand it's going to be array ID like that. Okay, I think this should be fine. I don't know. I'm guessing here. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it that there is. It's really it is. Yeah, I think before like VPCs there was this EC2 and it was kind of. It was weird. Like everything was sitting in the same network. You were just kind of you were separated by firewalls or something like that. It's weird. Yeah. Okay. So VPC security groups. I want to find. I don't like this documentation. It could be better. That being said, the CloudFormation documentation is not the best in the world as well, but hey. Okay. I think this should be fine. So security group IDs, and also we need to create a subnet, right? So we said that we need to do subnet. Subnet ID, okay. So subnet ID is AWS subnet dot, what's the name of our subnet? Subnet 01 dot ID. Wasn't super early AWS just a VPS service? No. Super early AWS was SQS. The first service on AWS was simple queue service. And I think after that S3 came and then EC2. So no, there was never a VPS type of AWS. At least not that I remember. I think every documentation requires more examples. And here's the thing, like the reason I'm doing all this stuff is that I, as you, have been struggling at times. Hey, how do I do X and Y with this code? I need an example. So I would go ahead and Google, GitHub, whatnot, try to find an example how somebody did something. And I'm trying to make this basically a bunch of Git repos are available for everybody to see how to do even the basic things. So hopefully sometimes somebody finds a piece of code that I've written and say, thank you, Darko. Thank you, Darko, for writing this piece of code because I struggled for half a day to write something and you basically have a super example here. So maybe one day. SQS permissions. Oh, yeah. Oh, what is it doing right now? It's removing something. We see those minuses. Better check it out. It's okay. So it's recreating. It's creating the security group, It's creating a new security group, and you see here that it's modifying an instance. So there's going to be a bunch of modifications here. So it's going to replace the instance, because in this case, the instance actually needs to be replaced. Otherwise, because it needs to launch in a separate VPC. So it cannot just move the instance to a VPC, it has to replace it. So just click yes. And I think as the final thing we're going to be doing here is I'm going to install Apache to the EC2 instance. That's it. Once I finish this, we're going to go through user data and install Apache and see if we can get a web server running through this code. Also, the gin hasn't blurred my vision and my and my oh. This security already exists. Because I changed just the logic name. Let's destroy this. Terraform. So if you can, just do this. Sometimes it's better just to do this. You may not be able to do this in production. Just destroy everything. Yes. And yeah. Or that maybe a does it have -- force? Gelb. There is no force. Too bad. Okay, cool. So if I do Terraform Apply again, apply, it should create everything brand new. And this is the beauty of infrastructure as code. So you play with something, you build something, and then once you're done, you can just run the lovely Terraform or whatever thing you run, destroy command, and everything is gone. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to linger for no reason. Your security is better by default with that. So all good. That was very fast. So instances, let me refresh. And there should be a new TF server. Excellent. It's spinning up. It has a Ooh, are we missing something? No, public IPs. Haha. So we need to set up public IPs. Ooh, okay. I think we can do that. Just looking at the time. I don't want to spend your evening, but let's actually just make that work. So is it somewhere on this one? Do we have to set up on this thing? Do we say IPv6 address? Public associated public address. Aha, cool. So this one. Associated public address. So, okay, we need to tell it, hey, so let's see out there. Public IP address equals true. Is this how you write a boolean? I think it is. How do you write a boolean? I hope it's lowercase true. I don't know. Okay, so this should be fine, I think. CDK validate. Yeah, okay. CDK apply, or CDK. Terraform. Okay, let's see if this will, it will have to probably recreate my EC2 instance, yeah. So if you see here that it will have to recreate, or yeah, it has to be replaced, so yes. Oh, they're both, okay, thank you, Mr. The Unwashed Masses. Because some languages don't accept, they're case sensitive, right? So true and true are not the same thing. I think Python accepts only uppercase true, or upper first character true. Okay. Give me the new instance, please. So it's, you can see this one is shutting down. So creating perfect. This is the new one. Let's see. Okay, we have a public IP address. Yay. There's no DNS still, so we need to enable DNS, but we can do that at some other time. So we have a public IP address here. If I copy this and open it like that, we'll get nothing because there's nothing running on the server. So as the last thing for today, let's install Apache here. So young Darko would just go ahead and, oh, let me SSH into this instance and install Apache. Yeah, that's fine. But that's not how you do things at scale. So especially not on the cloud. Let's add something called user data. So user data. So user data is basically a shell script that runs only the first time the instance is started. So for example, if you wish to install a specific, like, if you wish to install a specific piece of software, and like Mr. Cloud Sumo says, configure for ECS and deploy service. I'm not going to go that far because it will take me a while to set up ECS and all that. But let's just install HTTPD or Apache here, right? So instance has this thing called user data. Let me find it. Is there an example usage here? Is there an example user data? There is not. Okay. Okay, let's find, how does user data look? Instance type, monitoring. Of course there isn't, yeah. The user data provided do not pass gzip compressed data C user database. See, even if you click on this, it just takes you here. Yeah. Why is this clickable? Why? Okay. Wait. Terraform user data. Ah, there we go. Find somebody else. Thank you, Mr. Ah, there we go. User data EOF. Perfect. We can use EOF or end of file. So if we do EOF like this, we can say, hey, bin bash yum y update yum y install httpd and service httpd start, and then just do EOF like that. Does that fine? Yeah, it looks okay. All right, so with these 6 lines of code, we've added some code. We have added some startup logic to our EC2 instance. Once this EC2 instance starts up, for the first time, it should run, it should execute this code. So what this code does, it updates the packages, it installs HTTPD or Apache, and it starts Apache. So hopefully, once I validate, no. What did I do wrong? Let's look for this. Terraform user data. Why don't you work? Is it that way? Did I do it wrong? Okay, I mean, it looks like, is it the other way around? Could be. I mean, I'm literally, nope, it's not. Database instance measure from block definition must have block content limited. Am I not doing something correctly? User data, EOF. Oh boy. Maybe needs more tabs. I don't know. Let me try to find out. Google.com. Terraform user data AWS. Unclear how to add it. Okay, cool. I don't want to base 64 encode things. Oh, I can. Oh, this is cool. All right, even better. Ha. Can I do user data file? Perfect. Haha. There we go. No, I think we can do this even better. Let's be smart about it. So if I delete this, if I go here and do like that, file dot and just say user data sh user data dot sh like so. this should actually load the file off the disk. So if I would go here and edit user data.sh bin bash, come on, yo. Oh wow. Yeah, that's one of the things I remember this a long time ago, that you can read files off disk in Terraform. So compared to like CloudFormation, this was amazing. So let's see if this works. Now, I'm not sure if this would work. I am still gonna attempt this. No. Invalid character. File, user data. Am I not... Can I do it like this? Okay. Ah, perfect. Terraform. So since Terraform has changed its syntax a bit, sometimes the examples that exist out there do not work. So let's see what's going to happen right now. Terraform Apply. Okay, it's going to do something with my EC2 instance. So what I see here, it's going to replace an EC2 instance. User data, it's going to be something else for replacement. Okay, cool. We actually see here, if you look here, we actually see what forces replacement. So the user data is the actual culprit for this replacement. So that's very cool. So, okay, yes. And let's see what happens. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, one added, one destroyed. So we can see that an EC2 instance has been added and an EC2 instance has been destroyed. Okay, let's refresh all this thing here. One of the things we should be able to see that this one is actually being started. This is the new one. And if we right click on this and go settings and view change user data, we see that we have this user data here. Excellent, perfect. Now, once this is initialized, we should be able to see that there is a web server running here. Now, if I open up this here and just paste it, oh, it works. There we go. Wow, excellent. Perfect. Haha. Okay, so let me just zoom out on this a bit and explain what we did right now today. I want to just kind of make this small wrap up. So we've installed Terraform, right? We've tried to make Terraform work. We set up a provider. So here on the first 4 lines, we defined, hey, use AWS, use this region, and use this AWS CLI profile, because in essence, it uses the AWS permissions on your local workstation. We created an EC2 instance. This EC2 instance is a standard T3 micro instance that has specific user data set up, and this user data is actually this. It's just a simple bash script that installs HTTPD. AWS configure was done. Actually, AWS configure wasn't done. I have it already running on my laptop. So AWS configure. So if I do AWS configure, it will basically configure my CLI with the proper credentials. But I have it already configured, and I didn't want to expose my credentials because this is going live. So yeah. Oh, Selena. Hi, wow, I didn't expect to see you at this kind of stream, so hey, welcome. So AWS configure was done before. So we created this lovely thing here, EC2 instance with user data of a file, and that file is here. It installs, it updates the software on the server, it installs a web server, and it starts the web server. And the big part of our talk today was networking. So we created a VPC, we created an internet gateway, we created a subnet, we set up a route table, we associated that route table to the subnet, and then set up a security group as well. And that's it. So added all of those things and then actually set up our server to launch in that subnet. We made a web server with 94 lines of code. We made a network and a web server with 94 lines of code. Now, I could have all clicked this in 7 minutes and be happy with it, but when can you do this? Terraform destroy. Selena, hi, I'm very good. I'm very good. I hope you are also well. How are things in Canada, where you are from? I hope you are also doing well. And I am having a drink. So this is the proper stream where you have a lovely glass of gin and tonic while trying to learn a new technology together with a stream audience. So this is the benefit of, well, one of the benefits of infrastructure as code. You code, you build, and then when you're done with it, destroy. Makes things so much better, and you get to save money. Canada, yes. I had a friend today with a lovely. I had a meeting with him today. He has a lovely T-shirt. It says "You can't because you cannot always blame Canada." So there we go. GNTF streaming. So GitHub. Let's create this and let's put this. Let's open source this. Oh, by the way, I see that it's a bit red here. So let's create a repository. How are we going to call this repository? We're going to do oh, thank you very much, Mr. Joe Frickson. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I had fun doing this. Let's call it Darko's TF Adventure stream. Okay, let's call this repository like this. Make it public and call it "Here Be Some Scary Terraform Code." Excellent. License, I need to add a license because, actually, I'll add a license later on. So create a repository like that. Darko the Destroyer. Yes. By the way, my last name is Mészáros, which is a Hungarian last name. It means the butcher. So I wish it was the destroyer. It would be better, but yeah. Let's do it like this. Let's get in it. Create a new repository like that. The Dark Butcher, like a Norwegian death metal band. Shift insert like this. Will this work? Perfect. Now, one of the things we need to do, because I hate using master branches, so git checkout check out b, let's call it main, git add all, git commit genesis, git push origin main. Well, bam. Excellent. So right now, one of the things you will see here, if you go here and you look at the main branch, I'm going to delete the master branch, you will be able to see, oh, my TF state. Should this be here? Wait, no. TF state backup. Oh, no, let's remove those files. We don't need those files. Get rm tf state, rm tf state backup, because I have no state files. I deleted everything. So git rm terraform tf state and tf state backup, and git add all that, git status, git git ignore. I could add those things to git ignore, but I forgot to do it. So git commit removed the state mess, git push origin main. Excellent. So I think this should be done. This should be gone for now. So if I refresh, it's gone. Perfect, 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 perfect. Excellent. So if you want to have a look at this, the link, I actually will paste it on the chat. Using two different computers to do the same thing is complicated. So let me just switch to the other one. So Terraform or TF, is it TF? TF, yes. Darko's TF Adventure, like that. Copy, paste. Bam, there you go. Perfect. But I'm also going to delete this other branch as well. Can I remove this branch? Change default branch. I want to do main update. I understand, that's fine. Bye and then bye. Okay, cool. Refresh this. Cool. Delete this branch. Excellent. Perfect. So it's all here. I'm also going to add like, can I do license here? No, I'll add a license as well, because one of the things I was told that some companies cannot use my code unless I have a proper license in GitHub, no matter what I do, not even a snippet of my code. So I'll make sure to put the what is it called, the VS Code license as well. Oh, thank you, Joe. I keep on. Also, one of the things I need to do here, I'll do it in between the streams. I'm going to make a proper README file so this looks presentable for everybody. And thanks for the fork. Excellent. So I hope you enjoyed this lovely short, well, hour and 40 minutes look into Terraform, where I try to understand what is Terraform. I'll try to learn what Terraform is, how does it work. We installed it, we built a simple hello world AWS example where we launched an EC2 instance, created a virtual private cloud or a network, and set up all the things we have for an EC2 instance. Basically, we built a web server with 94 lines of code. So this is episode number 1 of this. I plan to do these things relatively often. I'm not sure. I do 2 streams a week, right? So expect 2 streams a week. Now they might not be in Terraform, in the topic of Terraform, but I cover AWS services, a lot of the fun tech stuff. So if you are not subscribed to YouTube or following here on Twitch, please do so you can be notified when I do those things. I usually tweet out those things before they happen, so you will get notified by any means. And yeah, when is the next stream? I don't know, maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow. I will see how this all goes. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Check out the GitHub page, which we did, and we will continue next time with some more infrastructure as code and AWS goodness. So yeah, hopefully it will be fun. Once again, thank you very much for joining. It has been a pleasure, and I will be seeing you in the coming days. Bye-bye.